Hello once again and welcome to Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. Playing as a troublemaking turnip, we must avoid taxes, harvest crops, battle massive beasts, and of course collect all the hats. All in the name of tearing down the corrupt vegetable government. This cute little indie has 37 achievements that we must smash to 100% complete the game. Let's jump right into it.
I just got three things to say. God bless our troops, God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
We're introduced to our first tax bill. Once we see the total owned, we decide to rip it up, unlocking us the achievement Tax Evader. We then meet up with Mayor Onion, and as Turnip Boy, we discuss our current situation on where we need to go next. We learn of our first mission where we need to take care of some animals and we need to bring back a bag of fertilizer in order to prove that we accomplished our mission. Right after talking with Mayor Onion, we open our mailbox to get the DLC hat, unlocking us our next achievement, Hat Wear, for wearing our first hat. Soon after getting our first hat, we go up to Old Man Lemon up here and get our watering can. This will be a vital tool for almost every aspect of the game. After speaking with some of the townsfolk, we eventually speak up with Strawberry, who wants us to bring a love letter over to the florist who we eventually talked to earlier. We decide to sabotage the relationship and rip it up, unlocking us the achievement Heartless for You Tore Up the Love Letter. As we go on our journey through the forest on our way to commit tax evasion, we come across a wanted poster where we decide to rip it up, unlocking us the next achievement, Most Wanted, for ripping up a wanted poster. Continuing on our adventure through the forest, we come across a dead end. In this dead end is a plant patch in which we water with our watering can. We actually unlock the soil sword, unlocking us the achievement Adventurer for You Grew Your Own Soil Sword. Now that we have a way to defend ourselves, we make our way back to town, slaying some of these snails on our way back. As we pass Blueberry, we slay a snail who drops rent money. As it turns out, the rent money was for the snail to Blueberry. As a reward, Blueberry awards us a check with the balance left over. We decide to rip it up, unlocking us the achievement Murder for You Brutally Murdered Jerry and ripped up his rent. Later on, after adventuring, we eventually go behind Belch's little shop, go dumpster diving, and find a receipt. We decide to rip it up to get Dumpster Diver for ripping up a receipt in the trash. After entering the barn, we finally meet Slay Queen 32, who states that we must have a tier 3 sub for her in order to further progress into the barn. That's our next goal. After searching around the barn just to see if we happen to meet some information, we run across a construction worker who provides his documents to prove that he works there, his 1099. By picking up that 1099, we tear it up, unlocking us the achievement Contractor. Soon after speaking with Mayor Onion again and doing some more exploring, we eventually meet up with Belch again, who actually gives us a tier 3 sub on the house for Slay Queen 32. We take this back to Slay Queen 32 and get our autograph, giving us the achievement Simp. Like many other areas of the map, we progress through the barn, completing puzzles that involve plant patches, bombs, and watering different crops. We're eventually led into an office with a book on a desk. Picking this book up reveals a How to Do Your Taxes book, and of course since we're doing tax evasion, we rip it up, unlocking us the achievement Bookworm for ripping a lame book in half. After going through many rooms and completing some challenges and puzzles, we come across our first boss, King Pig, ate a ton of fertilizer. Defeating King Pig pretty easily allows us to move on through the barn. Since we've defeated King Pig, we are able to get a new heart fruit, which gives us more health, along with going into the next room to the left allows us to pick up a bag of fertilizer, which we needed for Mayor Onion in the first place, completing our main objective for the time being. Up until this point, and throughout the entire playthrough, we'll be collecting all the hats we possibly can through all the characters in order to get the final achievement for collecting all the hats. We were crowned by Slay Queen 32, becoming Slay King 32, giving us the crown hat. Shortly after getting the crown, for Slay King 32, we meet up back with Belch, who after giving us a fast book sword, we decide to rip it up, giving us the achievement Computer Whiz for breaking some computer software. Now that we have gotten Mayor Onion his bag of fertilizer, our next objective suspiciously happens to be getting a 4-pronged spear, also known as a fork. Kind of suspicious at this point since everyone we're playing at is food items, but we'll find out later on. After further adventuring and giving a carrot baby back to a carrot, we are given the stool, which will allow us to progress further into the map in the game. After doing some adventuring and discovering some new hats, we go behind this lifted up house to discover a receipt on the ground. We decide to pick it up and rip it in half, giving us the achievement Savvy Shopper for destroying a receipt receipts. Almost immediately after, you try to use a stool many times without fail, and eventually getting it after the what feels like 10th time, allowing us to go into the house to progress into the game. After progressing through the house, defeating some enemies, and watering some plant patches, we finally find the freezer, where we run into a Cosmic Brownie, some Olive Guards, the Pickled Gang, Baby Bean, Nurse Berry, Carly and the Emo Cherry, good old DJ Sizzle, and also Pops. After taking on a side mission from one of the freezer villagers, we come across 2 enemies in a small room where we quickly slay with ease, one dropping a baby cherry which we can return to Carly later on, as well as a draft litter on the desk. After picking up the draft litter, we rip it in half, unlocking us the achievement Draft Dodger for tearing up Matt's draft litter. After completing the side mission, we are given a key which allows us to unlock another room in the house. Doing so, we run across a bedroom with a MIA notice. Tearing this up gives us the achievement The Messenger for ripping up Matt's MIA notice. Soon after ripping up Matt's MIA notice, we come across the next boss, the Rotten Cat Apple. And after some clever fighting and some clever plant patch bombs, we quickly dispose of the next boss. Defeating this boss also happens to unlock the Lost Cat Apple, Cran's Little Red Munchkin, which we can safely return later on. If you like my style of content, please make sure to hit the subscribe button, and on to the video. Along with finding a spray paint bottle, which we can use in an adjacent area on the side of the map to unlock us another hat and closer to the final achievement. After going back to Vegieville and going meeting with Cran Return Our Cat, we're giving us a little drawing with Cran and the cat, where we rip it up, unlocking us the achievement Waifu for You Destroyed a Waifu. Returning the spray paint can we just found after defeating the boss to the graffiti guy gives us a heart fruit, which will allow us to further unlock a final achievement for collecting all the heart fruits, where we can come back later on and see his artwork. After meeting back up with Mayor Onion, we give him the 4-pronged spear, or the fork, and we're told about our next mission, which a strange group with mysterious properties that we must hunt down and bring back a piece to the mayor. Off we go on our next journey. After going deep into the forest, we come across another wanted poster hanging on a tree. Picking it up shows us that it's vandalized, and for ripping it up gives us the achievement Devil for destroying a vandalized wanted poster. We also fight our way deeper into the forest, getting closer to the goop, running into new enemies such as bunnies and deer, as well as new plant patches that allow for portal-like plants to be grown. Further on our adventure, we come across some weird bunkers with some what looks like radioactive material, where we come across a mini-boss. Here we need to fight Bambi. Once again, coming out of another bunker, we actually come across another mini deer, which happens to be slightly bigger than the last. Bambi 2.0, here you go. After putting in some quick work with the second version of Bambi, we actually come across a next item, which is a pretty handy tool, which is a potted petal portal, which allows us to place the portals anywhere we so choose. Finally, after some further adventuring in another bunker, we come out of the exit, running into our third boss, the Stag. It's deer hunting season. With our sword in the bomb plant patches, the Stag boss, covered in radioactive barrels spewing radioactive material, is a quick fight, and we eventually defeat it. Going into the secondary bunker, right after defeating the Stag, we actually run across the green goop, which is our next mission for Mayor Onion. Now we must return it to Mayor Onion to find out what the next challenge is. On our way back to Vegieville to talk to the mayor, we run into Holly, who gives us a petition to save Flip Flop. Ripping it in half gives us the achievement Petitioner for destroying Flip Flop's last chance. On a side note, before speaking to the mayor, we actually go up to the Carrot Goon, who's part of the Pickle Gang, and obtain a hammer. This will allow us to break the Pickle Gang out of their jail. We get a little sidetracked, but this also helps us to unlock a next hat, the Fedora, which will also help us unlock one of the final achievements for collecting all the hats once again. After observing and handing the goop to the Mayor Onion, we come across our next mission, which is to find a strange laser device, which we might not understand, a laser pointer. Off we go on our next adventure. Along our journey to find the laser pointer, we get our chance to get ourselves a acorn real estate letter, in which we rip in half, giving us the achievement Estate Agent for destroying someone else's deed. They are no longer a homeowner. Our next adventure leads us into the Grim Graveyard, which is off of Vegieville. This is a pretty tricky area in which involves going through different kind of puzzles and figuring out the specific directions to go, because if you go in the wrong direction, you start back at ground zero. After digging up some graves, we come across a letter to the dead, and ripping it up unlocks us the achievement Gravedigger for ripping up a letter to the dead. Once again, like some other sections of the game, we also continue to dig up a grave, giving us a new hat, the top hat. Super fancy. After finally completing the pumpkin challenges and getting in the right direction to figure out the final area, we dig up one final grave, unlocking us the achievement Criminal for You Got a Dirty Shovel. Almost immediately after the last achievement, we work on being a messenger for the two potato folk, and we have received the bird hat for completing this side quest. Returning the letter we got from Tots to Pops in the freezer, we actually unlock another hat right away, the farmer hat for What's a Farmer? After trekking back into the initial forest where we originally got our soil sword, we actually come across a hatch in the ground. Going in there allows us to find a bunker, and along the wall we find a hazard information sheet, and ripping it in half gives us Doomsdayers for You Tore Up a Nuclear Hazard Information Sheet. Continuing along into the bunker, we seem to be following some radioactive food, fighting them off, as well as a shadowy figure that seems to be always 5 steps ahead of us. We will prevail. As we slowly progress into the game, we actually start to get some more clues from some of the stuff we tear up and some of the environment, such as this newspaper. Bombs dropped. For ripping up the newspaper, we get the achievement Newsboy for ripping up an old newspaper. As we're trying to unlock the new hazmat suit, we actually come across a letter on the bed. Picking it up actually reveals that it's part of a ripped out diary. Tearing it in half unlocks this achievement Liz for ripping up and reading a diary. We finally unlock the hazmat suit, which will allow us to progress further into the bunker, protecting us from many things, including fire. After getting the hazmat suit, we meet up with Edgar, which gives us a pair of scissors, which is our next haircut, cutting all our hair off, giving us the next achievement, Fashionista, for finally finding all of the hats in the game. You get 'em, Tiger. Progressing further into the bunker, once we've gotten our hazmat suit, leads us into a next final room, leading us into our next and fourth boss fight against Liz. Liz seems to have been mutated by the radiation we've been seeing all over the map in the radiation barrels. The fight with Liz not only took one fight, 2 tries, 3 times a charm? Nope, it took us 4 fights to finally defeat Liz. After defeating Liz and going into the adjacent room, we actually find the contraption, the laser pointer, and shoots a red laser. After giving Mayor Onion the laser pointer, it turns out we were being played the long con. He was never going to give us the deed to the greenhouse our father owned, and told us to get out of his sight and locked himself in the greenhouse. We must find another way in. Off we go to Old Man Lemon. Meeting with Old Man Lemon actually shows us that there's actually a secret hidden entrance to a mysterious mafia base. We traverse through the rooms and progress further. In one of the rooms, we come across a book called Basic English for Big Dum Dums. Ripping that in half gives us the achievement Teacher for You Destroyed the Book That Taught Everyone How to Speak. Duh. Going into what seems like an office, we actually find a letter, which happens to be from our dad, Turnipicino, unlocking us the achievement Turnipicino for ripping up a letter from our dad. After finally making it through the messy mafia base, we eventually find the entrance into the greenhouse, where Mayor Onion did not know about. Using all 4 of the items we collected throughout the game, Mayor Onion magically transforms into our next boss, Corrupt Onion. He went mad with power. After a pretty easy fight, we finally defeat Mayor Onion, unlocking us the next achievement, Turnip Boy, for committing tax evasion, a long goal. Along with committing tax evasion, we actually finally get the deed to our greenhouse. And of course, we rip it up, unlocking us the achievement Homeowner for ripping up our own deed. Now that we've defeated Mayor Onion, we must go back and finish up some of the achievements that we missed, or did not quite complete all the way. Going through the Mafia base to find our last tax document, we ripped the book with Mayor Onion's face on it, giving us 2 achievements, Tyrant for destroying words written by a tyrant, and Anarchist for destroying every single tax document and committing complete tax evasion. We next up go to the area that we completely skipped over in our first fight against the Mafia boss, which happens to lead to a radioactive cave below the Mafia base. After hitting the nuke that happens to be in the cave, we can actually blow up the world, unlocking us the achievement Destroyer of the World, and we got nuked, kiddo. Now that we've collected and destroyed all the tax documents, we can fight Corrupt Onion again, except this time it's a little different. After fighting him briefly, which happens to be another quick fight, we have another transition instead of the good old defeat menu. We are then brought into space, and we fight the next phase of the Mayor Onion, God Onion, who happens to be a universal spacefaring enemy that we must defeat. Along with saving our fellow veggies, we actually go along to bomb plant patches and launch them at our fellow veggies, launching them at God Onion, dealing damage. We finally defeat God Onion, giving us the last achievement for defeating him, Taxation with Representation, for you prevented universal taxation. Now that we've officially defeated the final boss, his first and second phase, now we need to finish up a couple achievements that we haven't gotten yet. Right before getting onto the conductor lane to do a roguelike little mode where you fight bosses and enemies over and over again, we actually collect our last heart fruit, unlocking us the achievement Tank for you grow all the heart fruits. We are now at max health. After doing a little bit of research and running into some veggies, we finally get our Limitless ticket, which will allow us onto the Limitless line to complete the 3 related achievements for fighting on the new mode on the train. This little game mode involves fighting little rooms of enemies in between boss fights, along with the ability to upgrade specific different things such as attack and attack speed, and finally we fight the conductor. It reveals that he is ninja-like with shurikens and a katana who does shadow forms at you. It happens to be a pretty easy fight, however, if you get into a sticky situation, you can take quite a bit of damage and have to restart. After a quick fight with Conductor Onion, we unlock the achievement Conductor for defeating the Conductor. On my second run of the Limitless line, I run into one of the achievement bosses, which spawns an unlimited chance at any of the boss portions, which is a fairly low chance, and I just happened to die as I was on low health. This will bite me here soon. Dying to this boss will also unlock the achievement Passenger for fainting on the Limitless line. This leaves one more left. And finally, after 5 rounds of fighting the same mini bosses over and over and fighting the Conductor Onion, we finally run into a boss chamber with the boss once again. After defeating this boss, which happens to be pretty easy, we unlock the final achievement for Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, for defeating ? Man, that's a lot of questions. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to keep a lookout for part 2, Turnip Boy Robs a Bank, coming to a theater near you.